Anisha Varma. After several rounds of talks that ended in stalemate, India and China are set to hold the 16th round of Corps Commander talks at Moldo today. The talks were scheduled to begin at 9:30 a.m. on the Indian side at the Chushul Moldo meeting point. The 16th round of talks comes as part of efforts by both nations to take forward the stalled process of disengagement and de-escalation in eastern Ladakh. Now remember, these are very important talks that are taking place. Earlier, 15 rounds of talks have been held between India and China. Now currently, the 16th round of talks are being held. They were scheduled to begin essentially at 9:30 a.m. And one of the major things that is on the table for this is de-escalation and disengagement. Now, one key question that we are going to be posing to our colleagues and reporters on the ground in connection with this is whether the statements that the Dalai Lama made earlier when he was in Jammu and Ladakh, whether they are going to have any impact on these talks that are being held. Now remember, the 16th round of talks comes as part of efforts by both nations, essentially, to take forward the stalled process of disengagement and de-escalation in the region of eastern Ladakh. And these are the 16th round. This is the 16th round of Corps Commander talks, and it's being held at the Indian side at the Chushul Moldo meeting point. Now I'm crossing over to my colleague Tejinder to give us more details on this. Tejinder, talks were scheduled to begin at 9:30 a.m. Do we have any update on that?
See, so far there has been no update, though the sources told us that the meeting is expected to start at 9:30, but given the weather conditions in that area, there can be some delay, so we are waiting for an official confirmation. But you see, as we speak about this meeting is really significant because you see, just a couple of days ago, Dalai Lama, who was in Jammu, he made a different kind of statement which was least expected, wherein he said that he's not a separatist because the entire thing revolved around Tibet as far as his statement is concerned. He said that he's not a separatist, he wants greater autonomy for Tibet, that too under the People's Liberation of China, and also he said that he wants to preserve the tradition and culture of the Tibetan Buddhists. So clearly it seems that there is a shift of stand on of Dalai Lama as far as Tibet is concerned. So we expect that maybe China will soften its stand after Dalai Lama made that statement, because if you see, when Dalai Lama was leaving for Ladakh from Jammu, when we asked him about the expansionist policies of China as far as the ongoing dispute in Ladakh is concerned, he said that both these countries are the most populous countries in the world and there is no resolution to any dispute with the help of military. So they will have to resolve all the outstanding issues through dialogue. And now Dalai Lama is stationed in Leh, and this 16th round of Corps Commander level talks are being held on the Indian side. So we are expecting that there will be some positive outcome. This is the sources are telling us that we expect that there will be some positive outcome. You see, this meeting is happening after a long gap of 4 months. The last meeting took place on 11th of March. So this was after a gap of 4 months that this meeting is happening. But we have seen that in the last couple of years, that means last almost 3 years, because this dispute has entered in its third year. We saw in 2020 there was a bloody clash that happened in the Galwan Valley, wherein we lost 20 of our bravehearts. The Chinese side, it also lost it had suffered significant casualties on the Chinese side. So now there have been 2 meetings between the Indian Foreign Affairs Minister and also his Chinese counterpart. And during both the meetings, both the leaders, they discussed the situation on the eastern Ladakh, and both of them agreed that there needs to be a peaceful resolution to the outstanding dispute so as to maintain peace and tranquility on the line of actual control. You see, despite the earlier 15 rounds of talk, the dispute, the issue of at Patrol Point 15 near Kong Ka La, Depsang Bulge in Daulat Beg Oldie sector and Charding Nala Junction in Demchok sector are still on the negotiating table. So these, we are told that the disengagement process at Patrol Point 15 near Kong Ka La, Depsang Bulge in Daulat Beg Oldie sector and Charding Nala Junction in Demchok sector would be discussed in today's meeting. So in the past couple of meetings, we saw that disengagement did take place at several points. We saw the dispute near the Pangong Lake, though there was some level of disengagement happening there, but though both these sides, they continue to maintain highest presence near the line of actual control in eastern Ladakh. As far as their men and machinery are concerned, we saw Indian Air Force maneuvering its fighter aircrafts near the sector. So both these sides are showing their muscle flexing. They are holding regular exercises on their side of the line of actual control. But as Dalai Lama also pointed out, that the resolution can only be reached through a meaningful dialogue. Yes.
All right, Tejinder, stay with us, because what we're going to do right now is take a very quick look at the advantage that India has at the LAC. Now, essentially, the first point that we're taking a look at is that the 70-kilometer front is under Indian domination. Now, another point which is advantage India is that we have control of the 16,000-foot Thangkung to Renchin La peaks. This again is advantage India. Now, we also have a bird's eye view of the PLA. Remember, this is the Chinese army, their Moldo garrison point. And apart from this, the approach roads to the Chinese garrison is also within visible range. Again, advantage India. Now, we also, and this is the final point which we're going to be talking about, we have an eye on the Spangur Gap, which is critical, essentially, to counter China's thrust. Now, I'm crossing back over to my colleague Tejinder to give us more details. Tejinder, to give our viewers some more perspective, could you elaborate a little more about progress that's been made in previous Corps Commander talks held between India and China?
During the last 15 rounds of talks, we saw both the sides agreeing upon the basic fact that the problem at hand has to be resolved through a meaningful dialogue. We saw that is the only reason that despite having a bloody clash in 2020, wherein soldiers on both these sides, they lost their life, the situation did not escalate, and both these sides, they agreed to hold dialogues. In the past 2 years, this is the 16th round of Corps Commander level talks that are happening today. We saw disengagement happening at the Finger 8, at the Pangong Lake and several other places. Disengagement did take place, but there continues to be several friction points, especially the Gogra Hot Spring, the petrol point, which 15, which is at the Gogra Hot Spring area, the Demchok and Dipsang sector. So these three places continue to be the main bone of contention right now, and to resolve the outstanding issue at these three main points, the dialogue process is going on. Both the sides, they have hardened their stand, but in the earlier meetings, we saw that both the sides, they agreed to hold further dialogues. We also saw in last few rounds of dialogue, MEA was also involved. MEA officials, they were part of the dialogue process. So both the sides, be it the Chinese side or the Indian side, they are trying their level best so as to resolve the issue, so that the resolution is expected to both the sides, because this has become a matter of prestige for both the sides. So a resolution has to be mutually accepted by the People's Liberation Army of China and as well as the Indian Army. So both the sides, they continue to maintain their stance, and that is why these meetings are being held time and again. So today we are expecting some headway in the meeting, but we are not expecting that all the outstanding issues would be resolved in today's meeting. But yes, some headways would be made, wherein both these sides, they would reach on an agreement for some level of disengagement happening at certain points. But yes, for complete resolution of all the outstanding issues, the process will continue for some more time. Yes, Aisha.
All right, Tejinder, thank you so much for joining us and bringing us those details. We will continue